The shooting range. The shooting range. Oh, yes. It's been a while since I last spoke these words, and a Happy New Year to you all. Hello, friends. This is Bruce. Thank you for all of your supportive comments. I've been reading them while in hospital, and you've showered me with your kindnesses and compassions. It certainly helped keep my mood up. Anyway, I'm really happy to be here again. So let's see what we have. In this episode, Pages of History, how the F5 met the MiG-21. Triathlon, the updated competition of top IFVs. And Metal Beasts, the Soviet HE tree. Please welcome another new vehicle of the Winged Lions update, an amazing new flower from the Soviet garden. A legendary tank destroyer still in service with a dozen nations. The 2S3M Akatsiya. If you aren't impressed with its looks, you'll be hit with a devastating HE round. Sent by its 152mm cannon with elevation angles between -4 and +60 degrees. There's also a machine gun on the turret. The engine compartment is placed in the front, next to the driver's seat, and the 3 other crew members are in the turret. The ammo racks are mostly found in the rear. Naturally, a large caliber tank destroyer can't show a balanced performance comparable to a medium tank. This machine's armor is weak and can be penetrated, or rather poked through, with basically any round. Any hit outside of the engine compartment is highly likely to be fatal. If it hits the rear, the funeral will also be accompanied by some fireworks. On the plus side, it has a low mass and a 500 horsepower engine, which results in a power-to-weight ratio of 19 horsepower per ton, exceeding most medium tanks on its battle rating. There's nothing to complain about its mobility, especially with the fact that you won't need to rush much. The focus point of any such vehicle is its rounds, of course. The 30F25HE rounds have 10 kilograms of TNT equivalent and can penetrate up to 62 millimeters of armor. In practice, it means that hitting any enemy's turret is a guaranteed frag. If there's an open compartment vehicle in the vicinity, it's simply going to be blown away. The ammo choice also includes capped, heat, and radio fuse rounds. Regular high-explosive rounds are usually enough, though. Just take a couple of dozen and head to battle. When you spawn, you might want to stick to the second, third, or even fourth line when possible. Just slowly make your way forward behind your allies. When you see an opportunity, roll forward and send a whole TNT log into the turret of the most dangerous enemy. Don't waste your caliber on tiny bugs. Once you've made your move, roll back into cover to reload. An experienced crew can handle it in 13 seconds. Pretty quick for all that raw power. The Soviets had some big luck. With Saigon taken and South Vietnam defeated in 1975, the Soviet specialists received some very rich trophies from their North Vietnamese comrades. The list was long. Small arms, military equipment, M48 tanks, even the legendary Huey helis. But the most important part of it was a few of the newest American Northrop F-5E fighters. Phantoms or Thunder Chiefs would have been better, of course, but the Americans would never trusted the Vietnamese with such expensive and sophisticated aircraft. The Tiger was a simple, inexpensive fighter for less than rich allies. Still, it was the first time that the Soviet Union got its hands on fully functional American jet fighters. Their engineers weren't expecting much from this little machine. The cockpit ergonomics, the non-reflective glass inside and outside, or the convenient access to internal mechanisms. They'd known about all of these things thanks to Lend-Lease planes they'd received back in World War II. The Americans have always been great at making foolproof and handy designs. Evident to this was the fact that the plane was brought to the USSR in a few boxes with no manuals, and assembling it wasn't an issue anyway. The only thing they found curious at first was the compact and unexpectedly advanced radar. However, the first test flights were completely off the charts. They found out that the F-5E was drastically different from those American fighters encountered above Vietnam previously. It seemed that this little machine had two modes of sorts, one for speed and one for maneuverability in a close-range dogfight, where the Soviet fighters had traditionally been considered supreme. So they decided to have a training duel with a MiG-21 bis. All of a sudden, the American machine left no chance to its opponent, tailing it successfully time after time. Vladimir Kondaurov, the test pilot in that episode, said that he had to jump out of his pants trying to overturn the little Tiger. Having a training duel against the MiG-23 was out of the question. After that, they suddenly felt a chill on a very hot day. Everyone did. The technicians and the pilots who had access to the trophies, the generals, the ministers, and the aviation engineers. The MiG-21 had successfully destroyed the best American machines before, the Phantoms and the Thundersheets. What was so special about this shorty? They also received some reports from Vietnam that man-pads didn't work against this new American fighter, and they were using the Strela 2, an ultimate piece of military tech that paralyzed American helis and attack aircraft, and failed to hit the tiny, agile Tiger. That's when the whole picture started to make sense. A maneuverable fighter needs more than a high thrust-to-weight ratio. It also needs good wing aerodynamics, and the F-5 had a superior design. They knew perfectly well that Jack Northrop had been the greatest innovator in that field. Well, in any way, it became clear that the final American gift to Vietnam was a bitter pill for the Soviet engineers, generals, and pilots. The Mikoyan Design Bureau had a long study of the F-5 ahead of them to later use its wing design and create a completely new, more advanced fighter. In the meantime, all they could do was add a line to the combat manual of the MiG-21. Avoid the dogfights with the Northrop F-5. They did avoid them. But that's a story for some other time. A long time has passed since episode 131, where we compared infantry fighting vehicles of in-game nations. Since then, we've added quite a few new and more advanced machines to this class. So today we're going to have a new, updated triathlon among top IFVs. Please welcome the American M3A3 Bradley, the Soviet BMP-3, the Italian Dardo with a 30mm cannon, and the Swedish STRF 9040 Bill. As is tradition, the first stage will be a race across multiple types of ground, from asphalted roads to almost impassable bogs. Our contestants line up at the start. Let's go! The Soviet BMP-3 gains a lead right off the bat. Then we see the Dardo close behind, followed by the Swedish and the American machines. The sands ahead increase the gaps between the machines and make the Bradley lose even more distance. The boggy part of the track introduces little change, and finally, some firm ground. The first to finish is the expected BMP-3, next is the Italian machine, then the Swedish, and the last one here is the Bradley. The next test is the shooting range. We've chosen a couple of the French AMX-40 tanks for targets, with one exposing its rear and the other its side. The distance is set at 500 meters. Let's go! The STRF shows the best performance in the frontal attacks thanks to its strong 40mm APF-STS rounds. The competition needs much more time to finish off their first target, but the next target was destroyed more quickly by the Soviet machine, most likely thanks to its high rate of fire. Well, the other machines handled it almost instantly too. And now the last stage. We won't be comparing their protection rate since they all have the exact same hopeless levels. So instead, let them show their auxiliary weaponry. We'll take the same AMX-40 tanks, but hide one of them behind a hill to make it more fun. Open fire! The ATGMs are flying at the targets. 1, 2, 3, 4! Half of the targets destroyed. The missiles are flying again. But wait, there's only 3. And where's the Soviet crew going? The American, Italian, and Swedish machines use their roof-crushing missiles. Not even reload needed. Meanwhile, the BMP-3 climbs the hill and uses its regular ATGM to shoot the target point-blank at full speed. It takes more time, of course, but it's the only vehicle that can shoot on the move here. The competition is over. It's time for the award ceremony. The bronze goes to the American Bradley. It could have scored better but for its low mobility. The silver is shared by the Soviet and the Swedish crews. The STRF 9040 could use some more speed, while the BMP-3 clearly needs better auxiliary weaponry. And the gold, today, goes to the Italian Dardo. It has everything an IFV might need: good speed, a balanced autocannon, and amazing ATGMs. Now that we've received the updated results, it's time we answered some of your comments. The first question was sent by a player called Lachlan G. Why are there plane names with numbers on the side inside the cockpit of the door 335? Hi. These numbers indicate the wingspans of the corresponding aircraft. The pilot would identify the enemy and enter the number to the rangefinder. Next, a special system of sensors, gyros, and a sophisticated analog calculator would automatically account for all other parameters, like the plane's speed and angle of attack. Such an aiming system significantly increased accuracy, especially at longer distances and at the high speeds of air battles. Eric Sursel asks, can you do a P-51 tutorial? Hi Eric, we'd like to give you a short tutorial right now. You need to keep your speed high at all times on the P-51. This will help you escape in case of danger or make a couple of sharp turns with your flaps. Most Mustangs have Browning machine guns with excellent accuracy and muzzle velocity. Make full use of it by opening your fire early. Another question comes from Marek Wojta. How exactly do blowout panels work? Are they supposed to prevent ammo racks from exploding every time? Or is there any chance for ammo to explode even with those panels? Hello, Marek. The blowout panels save the crew unless the armor plate between the combat compartment and the ammo racks is destroyed. 439 Sparky 1 writes, can you do a Pages of History on the Apache? Seems appropriate since the addition of the new YAH-64. Hey, thanks for the idea. We have some other things planned for a few episodes in advance, but this legendary helicopter deserves its own Pages of History. And the last comment for today was written by Ruben Rubenson. Will you add more yearly login stickers? Recently claimed 5 years and would like a new goal. Hello, Ruben. We've recently added new ones for 7 and 9 years of daily logins. Thank you so much for staying with us all this time. That's it for today. You've been watching The Shooting Range by Gaijin Entertainment, and the next episode will premiere the following Sunday at 4 p.m. GMT or noon Eastern Time. Subscribe and click the bell if you don't want to miss our next videos. Don't forget to leave a like. Have fun with volumetric rounds. Share your thoughts and comments. COVID defeated. See you next week.